When chapman billies leave the street, and drouthy neighbours meet, as market days are wearing late, and folk begin to tack the gate, while we sit boozing at the nappy, and gettin' fou and unco happy, we think na on the lang Scots miles, the mosses, waters, slaps and stiles that lie between us and our hame, where sits our sulky sullen dame, gathering her brows like gathering storm, nursing her wrath to keep it warm. This truth found honest Tam O'Shanter, as he frae air aye night did canter, old air wham never a town surpasses, for honest men and bonny lasses. O Tam, hadst thou but been sae wise as ta'en thy ain wife Kate's advice, she told thee weel thou was a skellum, a blethering, blustering, drunken blellum, that frae November till October, aye market day thou wasna sober. That ilka melder wi' the miller, thou sat as lang as thou had siller. The every naig was cawed a shoe on, the smith and thee gat roaring fou on. That at the laird's house, even on Sunday, thou drank wi' Kirkton Jean till Monday. She prophesied that later soon thou would be found deep drowned in Doon, or catched wi' warlocks in the mirk, by Alloway's old haunted kirk. Ah, gentle dames, it gars me greet to think how mony counsel sweet, how mony lengthened sage advices the husband frae the wife despises. But to our tale. Aye market night, Tam had got planted unco right, fast by an ingle bleezing finely wi' reaming swats that drank divinely, and at his elbow suitor Johnny, his ancient trusty drouthy crony. Tam loved him like a verra brother, they had been fou for weeks together. The night drave on wi' sangs and clatter, and aye the ale was growing better. The landlady and Tam grew gracious, wi' favours secret, sweet and precious. The suitor told his queerest stories, the landlord's laugh was ready chorus. The storm without might rear and rustle, Tam didna mind the storm a whistle. Care mad to see a man sae happy, e'en drowned himself amang the nappy. As bees flee hame wi' lades o' treasure, the minutes winged their way wi' pleasure. Kings may be blessed, but Tam was glorious, o'er all the ills o' life victorious. But pleasures are like poppies spread, you seize the flower, its bloom is shed, or like the snowfalls in the river, a moment white, then melts forever, or like the borealis race, that flit ere you can point their place, or like the rainbow's lovely form, even vanishing amid the storm. Nae man can tether time nor tide, the hour approaches Tam maun ride. That hour o' night's black arch the keystane, that dreary hour he mounts his beast in, and sich a night he tacks the road in, as ne'er poor sinner was abroad in. The wind blew as 'twad blawn its last, the rattling showers rose on the blast, the speedy gleams the darkness swallowed, loud, deep and lang the thunder bellowed. That night a child might understand, the deil had business on his hand. Wheel mounted on his grey mare Meg, a better never lifted leg, Tam skelpit on through dub and mire, despising wind and rain and fire, whilst holding fast his good blue bonnet, whilst crooning o'er some old Scots sonnet, whilst glowering round wi' prudent cares, lest bogles catch him unawares. Kirk Alloway was drawing nigh, where ghasts and howlets nightly cry. By this time he was crossed the ford, where in the snaw the chapman smoored, and past the birks and meikle stane, where drunken Charlie braks neck bane, and through the whins and by the cairn, where hunters found the murdered bairn, and near the thorn aboon the well, where Mungo's mither hanged hersel. Before him Doon pours all his floods, the doubling storm roars through the woods, the lightnings flash from pole to pole, near and more near the thunders roll. When glimmering through the groaning trees, Kirk Alloway seemed in a bleeze. Through ilka bore the beams were glancing, and loud resounded mirth and dancing. Inspiring bold John Barleycorn, what dangers thou canst make us scorn. Wi' Tippany we fear nae evil, wi' Usquaby we'll face the devil. The swats say reamed in Tammy's noddle, fair play he cared na deals a boddle. But Maggie stood right sair astonished, till by the heel and hand admonished, she ventured forward on the light, and vow Tam saw an unco sight. Warlocks and witches in a dance, nae cotillion Brent knew frae France, but hornpipes, jigs, strathspeys and reels put life and metal in their heels. A winnock bunker in the east, there sat old Nick in shape a beast, a towsy tyke, black, grim and large, to gie them music was his charge. He screwed the pipes and gart them skirl, till roof and rafters did dirl. Coffins stood round like open presses, that shawed the dead in their last dresses, and by some devilish cantrip sleight, each in its cold hand held a light, by which heroic Tam was able to note upon the haly table a murderer's banes and gibbet airns, twa span lang wee unchristened bairns, a thief new cutted frae a rape, wi' his last gasp his gab did gape, 5 tomahawks wi' blood red rusted, 5 scimitars wi' murder crusted, a garter which a babe had strangled, a knife a father's throat had mangled, whom his ain son o' life bereft, the grey hairs yet stack to the heft, wi' mair o horrible and awfu', which even to name would be unlawfu'. As Tammy glowered, amazed and curious, the mirth and fun grew fast and furious. The piper loud and louder blew, the dancers quick and quicker flew. They reeled, they set, they crossed, they cleekit, till ilka carlin swat and reekit, and coosed her duddies to the wark, and linkit at it in her sark. Now Tam Tam, had they been queens, a plump and strapping in their teens, their sarks, instead of creashy flannin, been snaw-white 1700 linen. Their breeks o' mine my only pair, the ants were plush o' good blue hair. I would-y gain them off my hurdies, for I blink o' the bonny birdies. But withered beldams old and droll, rig woody hags wad Spain and foal, louping and flinging on a crummock, I wonder didna turn the stomach. But Tam kenned what was wafu brawly. There was aye winsome wench and Wally that night enlisted in the corps. Lang after kenned on Carrick shore, for mony a beast to dead she shot, and perished mony a bonny boat, and shook baith meikle corn and bear, and kept the countryside in fear. Her cutty sark o' paisley harn, that while a lassie she had worn, in longitude though sorely scanty, it was her best, and she was vaunty. Ah, little kenned thy reverend granny, that sark she coughed for her wee nanny. Wi' 2 pund Scots, 'twas all her riches, wad e'er grassed a dance of witches. But here my muse her wing maun cour, sick flights are far beyond her power, to sing how Nanny lap and flang, a supple jade she was and strang, and how Tam stood like ane bewitched, and thought his very e'en enriched. Even Satan glowered and fidged fu fain, and hotched and blew wi' might and main, till first I caper sin another, Tam tint his reason altogether, and roars out, "Weel done, cutty sark!" And in an instant all was dark, and scarcely had he Maggie rallied, when out the hellish legion sallied. As bees bizz out wi' angry fyke, when plundering herds assail their bike, as open pussy's mortal foes, when pop she starts before their nose, as eager runs the market crowd, when "Catch the thief!" resounds aloud. So Maggie runs, the witches follow, wi' mony an eldritch screech and hollow. Ah Tam, they'll get thy farin', in hell they'll roast thee like a herrin'. In vain thy Kate awaits thy comin', Kate soon will be a woeful woman. Now do thy speedy utmost, Meg, and win the keystane o' the brig. There at them thou thy tail may toss, a running stream they darena cross. But ere the keystane she could make, the fiend a tail she had to shake. For Nanny, far before the rest, hard upon noble Maggie pressed, and flew at Tam wi' furious ettle. But little wist she Maggie's mettle, aye spring brought off her master hale, but left behind her ain grey tail. The carlin caught her by the rump, and left poor Maggie scarce a stump. Now wha this tale of truth shall read, ilk man and mother's son take heed. Whene'er to drink you are inclined, or cutty sarks run in your mind, think ye may buy the joys o'er dear, remember Tam O'Shanter's mare.